All right, folks. Vice President Kamala Harris has been the subject of withering criticism, scathing reports regarding her work in the White House. Now, insiders report that Harris has a poor relationship with President Joe Biden, is left out of crucial meetings, and is ignored by staffers. Well, that's what folks have been putting out there. But Vice President Harris has made several international trips, has been visible at significant bill signings like yesterday's infrastructure bill. Joining us right now is Glynda Carr. She's President and CEO of Higher Heights. Glynda, glad to have you here. What do you make of what we're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, Roland, I watched you last night, and so you were passionately explaining how the media and critics should tread lightly on the way that they're representing their perception of how Vice President Harris, her first 10 months in office has been. At the end of the day, this rumblings of tension between the vice president office and president's office, frankly, has been a discussion you've heard in other presidencies. The potential tensions that may have happened in a Bush-Cheney administration and Obama-Biden administration. So this one isn't par for course, but something that we've heard. At the end of the day, Kamala Harris is in uncharted territory as the first woman of color, and Black woman to serve in this role. And I certainly do believe that she's being held to a higher standard. At the end of the day, I have no problems with having conversations with the Biden-Harris administration about policies that we want to push forward as a Black community. We just have to check ourselves to determine, are we, sitting at the intersection of criticism because of race and gender?
The thing here is that when you look at these stories, and when you look at the frequency by which they are coming, it's one after another. They tried the exact same stories when she was running for president. And it's pretty much a repeat over and over and over again. So who's actually scared of Kamala Harris? Because the stories just don't pop up, because these things are true. No. These are planet stories.
Yeah, you will actually, if you go back and look at research that Center for American Women in Politics and various other research entities have done, is Kamala Harris has actually been the target to this type of media and narrative building since she was the Attorney General of California. She also, there is research that points to that she is one of the top political figures in our country that have been targeted towards disinformation and misinformation. That has been funded not only by interest groups here in the U.S., but frankly has been targeted by international funding to try to discredit her as a leader. At the end of the day, they're threatened by her power. Here is a Black woman who has served on the local level as a prosecutor, on the statewide executive level as an attorney general, on the federal level as a U.S. senator, on the national level as a vice president. And she literally, Roland, sits at the door of the Oval Office. This is not just about her as serving as vice president right now. People are threatened by the potential changing face of what the leader of the free world may look like if she chooses to run. May it be in a 2024 election cycle or a 2028 election cycle. This is about discrediting her to put roadblocks in her way if she decides to run for president. This is bigger than this moment right now.
Absolutely, it is. And again, it was also interesting because I still have, when you talk about the misinformation campaign, I still got Black folks who hit me on social media. Ooh, Kamala Harris threw all these Black folks in jail. Okay, well, that's been factually knocked down. They continue to repeat this sort of stuff. And so all of those attacks on her, they certainly made a mark. And I'm telling you right now, I keep telling people, if the White House lets this go on another 6 months, she cannot recover from this. She cannot.
It is hard to recover from dis and misinformation. Being able to say this notion that she's not done anything, reporting coming out when she took one of the most significant foreign trips in this administration. She has been to Europe, France. She's been to an Asia tour, a Central America tour. America is trying to rebuild their national reputation from 4 years of strained relationships. That is a significant role for the vice president to play, to ensure that our allies are truly ready to be in our global partnership. And that is the work. She's also the vice president, which means at the end of the day, she is here to support President Biden. And that's what she's done over the last 10 months on every piece of priorities that have come out of the Biden-Harris administration. She's been there lobbying her former colleagues in Congress. She's been meeting with mayors from across the country. She continues to host convenings in the White House with groups that sometimes have historically not been at the decision-making tables at the White House. She's hosted Black women leaders around voting rights. That is the work of the vice president. And certainly, like I said, we should be holding our elected officials accountable. We should be having the tough conversations, but it should be apples to apples, and that we should not be fueling this discussion that she is not a prepared leader for this moment, and that she's not, holding up her ability to lead this country forward.
Again, it's very interesting when you keep seeing the story and they're the same story repeatedly, and how it all plays out. Glynda Carr, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Georgia, I'll start with you. And I keep raising this point because, again, when you hear, oh, she's disappeared, she hasn't, you're like, what the hell are y'all talking about? I mean, literally, if you follow her Twitter feed, she's posting where she's having meetings, you're seeing the videos, you're seeing the speeches. And here's the other deal. I'm trying to figure out when the hell was the vice president so visible? Wasn't nobody asking where Joe Biden when Obama was president? Wasn't nobody asking where Mike Pence when that fool was in the Oval Office? Wasn't nobody asking where Dick Cheney with Bush? So all of a sudden, it's, oh, Vice President Kamala Harris needs to be omnipresent and everywhere? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, I think Kamala's a lot more interesting than Biden. And so folks want to see her. But
no. That ain't got shit to do with interesting. No. It has been used as a weapon. It has been
Absolutely.
But again, though, forget her being interesting. Don't nobody focus on the vice president.
I'm trying to make light out of the matter here, Roland, but you're right. And it goes back to that strategy piece that we talked about earlier when we were breaking down the attack against voting rights. And so when you start thinking about who would want to invest in a smear campaign against Harris, it would definitely be someone who's going to be throwing their name in the hat for the 2024 presidential election, because Harris is a strong candidate and she is doing a good job. On the other side of this issue, where my curiosity as a journalist takes me, however, is what have been some of the issues that Harris has brought to Biden that maybe Biden hasn't been fully in support of. And I think a lot back to the George Floyd Policing Act, which didn't pass. And I'd love to believe that Harris was an advocate for that. And so I'm curious, behind the veil, outside of the smear campaign, outside of these allegations to try to make her look bad, I am very curious about what is the real workings of their relationship. Has Biden been 100% supportive of the issues that Harris has brought to him to move forward for the Black community?
Yeah, but here's the deal, though. Okay, I get that, and I want to bring Misha Cross in here. But when Obama was president, nobody's sitting there asking the same of Biden. The reality is the vice president's job is to support the president, is to offer advice and counsel privately and go where the president directs them. Oh, look, Biden disagreed with the Obama White House when it came to the contraception and the Affordable Care Act because of his Catholic upbringing. He was like, yo, look, this is not a good way to go. What happened? They got sued with the Supreme Court. They actually lost. There were other areas where they disagreed. In fact, remember, he got involved in negotiations of one of those bills, pissed off Harry Reid to the point where he said the next bill, tell Biden he can't get involved in it. But again, the role of vice president is to do stuff quietly. Why? Because the president gets all the attention. So they're trying to use this, they're weaponizing this against Vice President Kamala Harris to portray her, Amisha, as aloof, as clueless, as unable to do the job. And so, again, it's the exact same story every 2 to 3 months.
No, you're absolutely right, Roland. And I can't speak to everyone on this panel, but I personally served in the Obama-Biden administration. What I know about vice presidents and what I know from his experience as a vice president is that it is never your job to overshadow the president. You serve as a conduit when it comes to conversations and leading engagement in community and being sent to deliver messaging around specific policy arenas. You serve as someone who has a policy goals that are diplomatic efforts that assist with the president's overall agenda. But this is a very different role than Kamala Harris as a senator. So when I see some of these attacks against her and against her role as a vice president, it makes me question if the American public and if the American media actually understands what vice presidents are actually supposed to do.
They are.
She's not here to carve out her own agenda at all. She is here to work at the pleasure of the president. She does not have her own agenda or her own status. When you talk about criminal justice reform, she's only able to go as far as the president is able to take it. When you talk about healthcare, she's only able to go as far as the president is willing to take it. She does not sing from a different page. And I think that, when you are to juxtapose BBC coverage, when you are to juxtapose newspapers from Europe or newspapers from the Northern Triangle countries, from her visits there, and the comments from leaders of both of those areas to what we see the coverage of Kamala Harris here in the United States, it is starkly different. Our press, be it whether it is the mainstream media on the liberal side or the mainstream media on the conservative side, have taken it upon themselves to destroy Kamala Harris. And partially, I think that the administration needs to be more full-throated in terms of how they basically, throw this out. What we're seeing right now is an MSM that is trying to set up a all-out battle royale between Vice President Kamala Harris and Secretary of the Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, because people see him as having a rising star and really being able to take control because of the recently passed infrastructure legislation. But I think that what we're seeing is something that Kamala Harris honestly has been going through almost her entire career, but got ratcheted up because she is the highest ranking Black woman this country has ever seen. And I don't think that this pressure is going to go away anytime too soon. And it has nothing to do with her role as vice president in terms of her doing anything that she should not be doing. She is playing her part. And anyone who doesn't understand what the vice president's role is needs to go back and read our Constitution.
The thing here, Mustafa, that I think is important is when these things happen, you kind of got to respond. And as far as I'm concerned, the vice president's team is not doing a good enough job. They're not. I believe that there are moments to take advantage of. Sure, she had, the high-profile appearance on The View that went awry. But what I'm trying to understand is, how are you not doing a much better media offensive? I'll give you a perfect example. When they had the meetings and heard the Divine Nine, okay, that was weak coverage there. I don't understand how you didn't blanket Black media when that actually took place. I don't understand how they're not doing that. Sure, I'll sit here and I'll look at certain things that might be on her Twitter feed, and I sort of get this email, which is like this, weekly roundup of things that she does. But, frankly, their outreach on that is weak as hell. And she was, let me be clear, Senator Kamala Harris was far more aggressive in coming on this show and other outlets when she was, frankly, trying to get the nomination than she has been since getting the nomination and since winning. And so my deal to her team is, what the hell are y'all doing?
Well, hopefully folks have heard you. And they're going to
No. I've texted them directly. Still waiting.
Well, hopefully they're about to pick up the phone and make the call or hit you back. Because, I mean, you know, part of the game, of course, is marketing and highlighting the things that folks are working on. And yes, you can do that as you are supporting the president because he has certain agenda items that he wants you to lead. So folks have to do a better job. And you also always got to come back home. You got to make sure that you're supporting Black media, who was so incredibly supportive as you ran. But there's also these other parts that we got to call out also. You know, I've spent enough time in and around the White House to understand that if there is something that's not supposed to be discussed, then it is not going to be discussed. So that means that the president has to continue to have those conversations with his inner circle about what his sets of expectations are. We also got to call out the chief of staff, because the chief of staff also plays a significant role in this by making sure that folks understand that if you are caught doing these types of things, if it is literally coming out of the White House, that you will no longer have a job. And a great chief of staff can run things down and find out exactly where it came from or have a good idea to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. We all know how incredibly talented Vice President Harris is. I was blessed to be able to work with her on some pieces of legislation when she was a senator. So she's incredible when it comes to actually trying to make sure that real change is happening on the ground. So we just got to make sure that that incredibleness and all those amazing things that she's doing is actually being highlighted.
Again, part of the deal here, when you're getting pillared in the media, Georgia, then you kind of got to have a response. You can't go into hiding. You can't allow that to play out. And again, there should be a recalibration of whatever the hell their media plan is, because clearly what you're doing ain't working.
Yeah, I think you have a point there. And what I saw this morning, even from CNN, was that Harris's team tried to brush it off as though it was just gossip, that it wasn't true. But in terms of optics and controlling the narrative, there definitely needs to be some push for controlling her narrative and showcasing all of the work that she's doing. My concern is that regardless, though, whatever she does, and no matter how great of work she's doing, and even if she has the perfect PR team to put it all out there, she is a Black woman. And so I'm concerned that regardless of what she does, she's going to continue to be pigeonholed in this place where she's criticized because she's a woman and because she's Black. I mean, we saw it happen when Michelle Obama was the first lady. People always found something about her to criticize, no matter how great of work she did in that position. And so I kind of feel like in some cases it comes with the territory. But to your point, Roland, they're not really doing anything to try to combat it.
This is just a perfect example to me. This is just a perfect example. So I was just going through the Twitter feed of Vice President Kamala Harris, okay? And so here's a video from September 24th of Vice President Kamala Harris. And they posted this 30-second video of her after she met with the president of Ghana. Watch this.
We have deep and historical ties. Our official bilateral relationship began in 1957, but of course there are longer and longer-standing ties that connect the people of our nations. Over the years, many Americans have traveled to Ghana to remember the history of slavery and to honor their roots and understand their ancestry. And the African diaspora in the United States, including my home state of California, is significant, and our nation is stronger for it. We have deep...
Okay, that was September 24th. I'm going through my email. Nothing. I'm just saying, if that's just one of those, to me, that's just one of those items that, you know, you might not think it's a big deal, but, you know, you might want to sit here, you know, and I guess share it with Black media. Okay, matter of fact, here's another video the day before, September 23rd. Video dropped, and here is Vice President Kamala Harris talking with the president of Zambia.
We recognize, of course, that in addition to the great ties between our people, we both share common values and a common vision of what is possible in the midst of the challenges that we all face. And today, of course, we share a commitment to democracy. And we understand and know that to strengthen democratic institutions means to respect and uphold the rule of law, and to lead understanding the significance and importance of fighting for all people and their rights. We recognize, of course, that in
Okay, I'm just saying that here's the deal. The White House press corps, they're focusing on the president, covering them. You have to create your own strategy when you're the vice president. And if you do that, then you're not going to hear people saying, oh my God, she's missing in action. Amisha.
Part of this, Roland, is an adaptation and adoption of conservative media tropes. They've been pushing where's Kamala Harris since basically she became vice president. They've created memes about it every time they don't see her on cable news, which, as you know and have talked about earlier, is not the job of the vice president. She's never going to get the same level of mainstream media attention as the president, and she shouldn't. Unless there's some major gaffe or something crazy that happens, she's typically not going to have the press corps following her every single step of the day. With that being said, I agree with you. There is a positioning that her communications team has to take, specifically even outside of the communications teams of VPs in the past, because she is being pummeled every single day by media on all sides of the political spectrum, where they're going to have to advance the work that she is doing, advance and illustrate to people exactly what a vice president's roles are and how she's fulfilling them. Because what we're seeing right now is a reiteration time and time again of what the right-wing media has perpetuated about Kamala Harris. Now those exact same tropes, that exact same language is being repeated and parroted by CNN. It's being parroted by the Washington Post. We're seeing it everywhere. In the beginning, a few months ago, after she became the nominee, we saw that it literally was basically Fox News, OAN, and the like. Now it is everybody. And to ignore it or to act like she is going to be able to rise above it without anybody ever pressing go and actually, pushing a full-scale assault against it is completely ridiculous to me, because come 2024, whether Joe Biden decides to run again for a second term or not, at the end of the day, Kamala Harris is here to stay. And I think that when you're a heartbeat away from the presidency and you are a Black woman and you are up against all of the things that she is up against, there has to be a dedicated team to ensure her safety and protection and her image out here in the public. Right now, it's basically go for what you know. I hope you survive. And that's not a place that Kamala should want to be, and it's definitely not a place that her staff should leave her.
Look, again, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Yes, your vice president doesn't overshadow the president, but there still is having a smart strategy to counter what this narrative is. And as far as I'm concerned, that is not happening. So I'm just sort of waiting to see when that happens, waiting to see when they're going to do that. But I'm going to say it again, and I don't care if they don't like me saying it. But here, I'm just gonna put this one here again. That to me, I think is just is idiotic. This is just me, okay? And because I was going again, I'm going through the feed. It's September 18th, okay? September 18th. That was the day of the Howard Hampton game. And she's a graduate of Howard University. And she threw out, she did the coin toss. And this is the video that they posted on her feed, okay? Got it, all right? So, what is confusing to me, and again, this is just how I sort of think. This is just me, Mustafa. Okay. If I have a Black female vice president who is a graduate of one of the schools that's playing in the game, and so she's there, then probably what I'm going to do, this just roll. Probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to have her maybe, while the media was gathered there, say a few words about the importance of HBCUs, about the importance to fund these institutions, about the importance of the graduates that they turn out, and what they mean to the university. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Now, I'm not saying even have a full-blown news conference. What I am saying is you take advantage of the moment, and just for everybody to understand, this is just a 15, look, this is the crowd that was there. I was on the field, okay? That's what you do. In fact, what I would have done, this just roll. Because she was at the game. She stayed for the whole first half. The Howard Band paid tribute to her at halftime. What I would have done, this is just roll. This is just me. I would have had her say a few words to the thousands in attendance, which would have been covered, which would have generated your attention, and you'd have been speaking to a critical constituency. Wasted moment. Sure, you had the photo op of her waving, but you used the moment to speak to why HBCUs matter, why we must fund them, what is important about it, and you could also talk about the historical fundraising, the historical amount of money that has been provided to HBCUs by the Biden administration and the Congress in the past 18 months. I'm just saying, to me, that's called a freebie.
Yeah, it's definitely a missed opportunity. When I was a communications director, whomever I was working for at the time, there were a couple of things. The first one was to speak to the issues that people care about. So there's a prime opportunity there to hit a number of those different items that you just raised. And the second part is to make sure that you're being humanized, that you are actually connecting with the folks, and that you have the content so that people can see it who maybe hadn't been there. And then you continue to repeat that cycle time and time again everywhere you go, and you continue to push out that, because there are going to be slow media days. There are going to be days when the president may not be in the news cycle, but she should be in the news cycle. So you just got to take advantage of those opportunities. But that means that you have to have a real communication strategy that is actually connected to everyday people.
And this, to me, y'all, is really a no-brainer. It ain't that damn hard. It's not like it's heavy lifting. I'm just saying you take advantage of it. But when you're getting hit like this here, when your approval number is at 28%, like I said, I need everybody listening, if you allow the perception to then become reality, you will never recover from a 28% approval number. Just saying.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Are the stars out tonight?
Alexa, play our favorite song again.
Okay.
I only have eyes for you.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Like, wow, Roland was amazing on that.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform.
that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared. You dig?